trying to make me cry in front of everybody, man?
Yeah, that's the point.
One word of advice. Buying TV, don't spend it on Hooker.
Super Russ. I'm the last character on my Justice League team with these four babes. Yo, what's up?
Yeah,
Back
where's
here with
T-shirt going
episode
now?
53. Hey, Super Russ and Batman. That's an awesome shirt, man. Where'd you get that?
Oh, I just got that on off a Redbubble. If you guys want one of your own, the link is in the description below.
Right below Simple Simon's channel. If anybody happens to catch this on the replay that doesn't know Simon, his link is always the first one in the description.
I went to the shop yesterday to get my books, and I think Mark was wearing a Superman shirt with the S on it, and he looked at me and goes, "What the hell's that?" And I was like, for a second, I thought about saying it's Rus Man, but I said it's Super Russ.
I should for the 6-year anniversary in August, I should change the name back to Rus Man.
Yeah, go back to the OG. Do you want to say what's up to the chat?
Yo, what's up? Fanboy Prime was in here first. What's going on, brother? Troy's Reviews, what's up, man? And Ben Compton. Appreciate you all popping in.
But your goatee's starting to look a little bit like the bat symbol there. It's gonna,
Yeah.
Oh, actually, maybe
Really?
it looks like the Star Wars rebellion thing.
Yeah, it's still a little thin, but I went ahead and shaped it up a little bit anyway.
That's what, 2 weeks old, you said. If I didn't shave for 2 weeks, you wouldn't be able to tell on camera. Like, if you're with me, you'd probably be able to see the growth, but yeah, you wouldn't be able to tell on camera, I don't think.
Why don't you work on a beard, man, for 2023? Just let it go.
Yeah, I'm not a beard guy. So speaking of beard guys, there's one in the chat. What's up, Gray Man?
Yo, what's up, Gray Man?
So I figured we'd nerd out today on all things nerdy. But I guess we can start off with one of your things, the wrestling. I know the Royal Rumble was on.
Yeah.
I was
awesome
actually watching some of your stream. I couldn't hang out long. So I normally, if I can't hang out long in the chat, in the stream, I don't say anything. Just I lurk.
Yeah, the Rumble was like 4.5 hours long or something crazy.
Yes, I saw you Puff and Simply Incredible.
Yeah.
So it was a good Rumble.
Yeah, it was one of the best Rumbles I've seen in the last 5 years.
Really? Mark? Because I spoke to Mark a little bit about it. He wasn't a fan. It wasn't that he wasn't a fan. He was just predictable. He told me really? That because I know who won because I saw one of my mates posted who won on the on Instagram, and he was just like, "Oh, so predictable." He came out 30th, and I was like, "Oh, he came out 30th. That's interesting."
It was a fun show, though. Yeah. Last year when I did it, Puff Comics came on about halfway through, and this year, about a week or two before the Rumble, he hit me up and asked me if I was going to do reactions again, and he was with me from the start.
Hey, wait, how did you watch it? Isn't it pay-per-view?
No, it's you know how they used to have the WWE Network?
Yeah.
They moved all their network stuff over to a streaming service called Peacock.
Oh yeah.
And last Black Friday, I got the special. I got it for $1.99 a month for a whole year. So it's just $2 a month for a year. I got it locked in.
Yeah, I think I saw. We don't have obviously all the same streaming services. We have one called Binge, and Sarah recently downloaded that. A lot of them give you a trial period.
Yeah.
So she did the trial period so we could watch Last of Us. So I think the Royal Rumble was actually on that, but I didn't watch it. The Rumble was I didn't know Sean was a wrestling guy.
Yeah.
The Rumble was
he's got a championship belt and everything, man. The real deal.
Yeah, I
Oh, I
remember
thought you were
back when
talking about. I thought you were talking about Puff Comics. His
no,
name
no,
is
no,
Sean
no,
too.
no, I knew he's a massive wrestling fan. I'm talking about
Yeah.
Zaz here.
Oh yeah.
When I was a massive wrestling fan, the Royal Rumble was my favorite thing to look forward to every year, for sure. Um, my hey, I was going to ask actually. So back when I was into wrestling, at the time, I think Stone Cold had won like 3 Royal Rumbles, I think, and at the time that was like the most that anyone had ever won the Rumble. Does that record still hold today?
I want to say it does because I don't think anybody's won it. It might be tied. Trying to think.
Um, I would say my favorite Rumble was the one where Stone Cold won, and I don't know what year it was, but I remember Kane that year was like in the Rumble for the longest period. Like he came out really early, and he was the
Oh,
second last guy.
he held the record for the most eliminations for a long time.
Yeah, so it was that one. Yeah, and then it was him and Stone Cold at the end, and Stone Cold won. That's my favorite Royal Rumble. Stone Cold
All
still
right, Stone
leads.
Cold
Okay,
still leads with 3.
too good, too good. Did you watch? So you know how Main Event Comics does that Royal Rumble? Does the wrestling stuff?
Yeah.
He did a Royal Rumble, and oh man, I sat there and watched the whole thing.
I didn't see his. I'm gonna have to go watch his Rumble video. I didn't
I was
see
like,
that one.
who's gonna come out next? Because he's got all the comic book characters in it and stuff, and he has a few people from the comic book community as well in there. Man, it was awesome. I literally watched it from start to finish.
Gray
I used
Man
to do
said
that,
he
man.
always hated Stone Cold.
Man, you know what? Like he was my favorite, but
That's
he
a
was
hot
never
take.
one that I would call my favorite because at the time he was the face, so like he was everyone's sort of favorite at the time. But he was pretty cool.
Yeah. I like Stone Cold. Undertaker was probably my favorite back in the day, as far as like the Attitude Era goes.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing that got me into wrestling, I guess, in that era was when they had that Survivor Series, and that introduced me to Stone Cold and The Rock and Mankind. I didn't know any of those guys, but Stone Cold was just kind of like that sort of bad. It was just weird that they kind of had the whole redneck thing going on. It was like kind of a weird thing to have as like the hero. Yeah, no, he was cool.
Did
But
you
my
see
favorite
like
was
any of his gimmicks before he became Stone Cold?
yeah, of course. Like when he
Because
had hair and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
he was Stunning Steve for a while.
yeah.
I think when he first came to WWE, they give him like a gimmick called the Ringmaster. It was crazy.
Yeah. I was a big wrestling fan, man, back for a hot minute. From that time when I saw that Survivor Series, because I remember I had a friend in high school who was obsessed with it, and I was like, man, I'm not into it. And then that happened. Then that night happened where they played that on free to air TV, and it was so good. And then my brothers had cable because you really had to have cable to watch it back then, and they like used to tape it onto a VHS tape for me, and I'd watch like the Raw shows and stuff like that. So that's how I watched it. But yeah, I was obsessed with it for the longest time, man. All the way up until I was like in my early 20s.
Yeah.
When I first in my early days when I was in my band, I used to wear wrestling t-shirts and stuff like that. I used to do the Triple H thing in like certain parts of songs, like when we hit certain note, I'd like turn around and spit the water up in the air and stuff like that.
That's awesome, man.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Yeah.
We
So
might have to like work on a new intro for the show with you doing that.
It was like I do it with beer though. Like I just have a sip of beer, and it was like there was this song that we had where there's like a bit of a build up, and then the song just stops for like 3 seconds, and then goes boom straight back into it. And on that boom, I would just spit the beer up in the air. But yeah, they were fun days. WCW was just the best at the start. Yeah, see, I remember 2 friends. One was into WWE or WWF back then, and the other one was all WCW. And I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about, dude.
I remember like right around the time Hogan went heel, that's where I switched over and started watching a lot of WWF because at the
That's
time
right.
I still thought it was like 100% real And I
That
felt
is
betrayed,
crazy.
man. I felt so betrayed.
That is
So I just like,
crazy.
screw WCW. I'm watching WWF now.
That is so crazy that you thought it was real for
I
so
know,
long.
man. I was like 16.
That's why that's why a lot of people I think lose interest in the wrestling. Obviously, like because you knew it was fake. Like obviously when
Yeah.
I was into wrestling, obviously in the Hogan and Ultimate Warrior days, and it was so cool. But then you get a little bit older, and it's like, why would I watch it if it's fake? But then when I saw that Survivor Series thing, I just guess you see the entertainment side of it. So
Yeah.
but Edge was one of my favorites. But I just think Edge
Oh, yeah.
looked cool. He wasn't necessarily the most entertaining wrestler, but I just think he had that sort of 80s rock star sort of look back then as well. So I'm kind of spewing that by the time Edge became a big name, I was already sort of getting out of it. Wasn't really into it anymore. But I every now and then I'd catch it. I'm like, oh, Edge is like one of the main guys now, which was cool. But yeah, I wasn't into it by then.
Yeah, I think overall, I think he ended up being like maybe a 10 or 11-time world
And
champion or
that's the other
something like
funny
that.
thing, man. Like, you think about that. Like, you think some of the big names are like, he's a 17-time world champion. It's like, damn, that's a lot of times. Uh, but yeah, I think so towards the end, I was into both. So I used to go to this video store back in the day and rent all the wrestling tapes. And that's how I watched the pay-per-views, by renting them on video. But then I discovered, like, on the same shelf at this video store, you preferred Christian over Edge. Christian became pretty funny though, he became a good character too.
Yeah.
Um,
He was doing some good work in AEW recently too.
yeah, I think I saw
So
some promos.
he's still
And
pretty good in ring too.
those guys be ancient now, right?
He's got to
Yeah,
be in
man.
his 50s.
Yeah, it's 20 years ago, man, when I
Gotta
was into
be.
that stuff. Yeah, I used to borrow them from the video store, but then on the same shelf, that's where I discovered the UFC as well, because like they had all the early UFC tapes, and I was like, oh, I've heard about this. And I was like, I'd never been able to watch it. So I borrowed all the UFC
Yeah.
tapes and watched all the early UFCs, and then it kind of slowly just got into that
Early
instead.
UFC was brutal, man.
Yeah, they had no rules. You could punch each other in the balls if you wanted to.
Yeah. Just like leave your opponent like a bloody mess. It was insane.
I remember back then too, like people would just like make up stuff. Like I remember some random guy at the train station talking to me about UFC, and this is before I'd watched it. So he's like, "Oh man, have you seen that UFC? Oh, it's brutal. I saw this fight where this guy like jumped and stomped on this guy's face," and I was like, "Oh, that guy's dead." And I was like, "What? Are you serious?" And then I watched it, I was like, "It's not like that at all."
Yeah, I don't know if anybody ever actually died from it.
Well, actually, if you watch the very, very first UFC fight, right? Ever. So UFC 1, the very first fight, it was a tournament, right? The first
Yeah.
fight, you could tell, like, even me, like I was what, I don't know, teenager back then. And this is I didn't watch it when it came out. I watched it like years after the fact, like probably 5 years after it would have happened. It's a kickboxer versus a sumo wrestler. So the fight starts, the sumo wrestler charges over to the other side, and the kickboxer kind of just steps to the side, and then the sumo guy falls onto the ground and lands on his knees. So he's on his knees, he's grabbing the fence, and he's just looking at the kickboxer while he's on his knees. And the kickboxer sort of looks at him for a second, and then he's just like, and then he kicks him in the face, and a tooth flies out, and then the ref stops it. The ref stops it straight away. So the first ever fight goes for like 5 seconds, not even that. Maybe it was like really short. And I sat there and I was like, oh, these guys don't know what they're doing. Like the people who organized the event had no idea what they were getting themselves into.
Yeah.
Because
I'm sure they had no idea how big it would become either, man.
yeah, nah, definitely. Well, that it became big because like when Dana White and those guys took over, they wanted to regulate it. That's why they brought in rules, because they're like, it's never going to be big if we have no
Started
rules
doing like
and
the
all that
big
sort of
like
stuff.
pay-per-view events and stuff like that.
Yeah. So
What's up,
yeah,
Chop?
what's going on, Chop? It was just interesting to see it from the beginning when there was no rules and things like that. What's going on, Old Wolf?
Oh, Old Wolf in the house. What's up, man?
Yeah. Did you? Oh, wait. No, I forgot what I was going to say. But did you see all the DC news that came out?
No, not yet.
Oh man,
I don't know, man. I've just been kind of avoiding that side of the news because everything that happens makes me mad.
I didn't like see it on like YouTube. I just saw everyone was posting about it yesterday. I was just like, that's how I
Really?
find stuff out. People just post about stuff on Instagram. I'm like, oh, okay. So they announced the first two, not phases, but they're calling it chapters instead of phases. And I just thought it was some interesting titles that they decided to go with. James Gunn giving everyone false hopes.
Probably.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
Because I remember when they did like the first big announcement, like way back in like 2016, they laid out a whole lineup, and by 2020 we were supposed to have a new Green Lantern movie. There was supposed to be 2 or 3 Justice Leagues by then, and it was this whole plan, and then nothing happened.
Well, I'm pretty sure this is legit. I'm just trying to find anyone who posted about it yesterday. Who posted about that kind of stuff? Let me have a look. Because I think you should because the first movie I think they're running with is Superman.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not going to be Cavill.
Yeah, but you got to give people a chance, mate. I mean,
I understand.
That,
screw giving him a chance. Cavill was the ultimate Superman. He was the best Superman since Christopher Reeve. Dude actually loved the character. He was into the comics. He's into the games. Screw
Ben
James
Affleck,
Gunn, man.
Ben Affleck was a great Batman too, but all the scripts they had for him were crap.
Yeah.
And Pattinson did good. Have you seen the new Batman yet?
No, I still haven't seen it.
Oh, dude, this guy.
I know, I'm terrible at seeing movies, man. Yo, what's up, Gino? How's it going, brother?
I think we're gonna have to pull together a community. We'll somehow work out a way where we can maybe just buy a bunch of Blu-ray movies for you from Amazon or something like that. We got to get Russ to watch Snyder Cut, and we got to get him to watch the new Batman because you love Snyder Cut. Like,
have they even put that on Blu-ray? The Snyder Cut?
Yeah, of course they did. Yeah,
they did.
Yeah, hell yeah. It's even on 4K Blu-ray, but I'm pretty sure. Oh wait, Xbox. Does the Xbox play?
I think so, but mine's the digital version. But I think PS4 plays. Somebody said PS4 plays Blu-ray.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, PS4 plays Blu-ray. Of course. PS3, I think, played Blu-ray. Snyder Cut is worth your time. It's a long watch, but it's kind of like a lot of people are like, oh, it's too long. But I was like, man, if you like this stuff,
if it's a good movie, it don't matter how long it is.
It shouldn't feel too long. I mean, yeah, it breaks it up in chapters. So if you want, like, so when me and Sarah watched it, we had I think was it 4 or 5 hours, whatever it was. We watched halfway through, we stopped, went and got food, brought it back, and watched the rest. But we watched it all in the one day. But mate, you'll like it. Yes. So we got to get Super Russ some movies, some of them physical copies that still exist out there. But yeah, you'll freak out in some of the bits because I'm glad I watched Snyder Cut the way I did it too. So the day before the release, I bought the Blu-ray of the original Justice League cut and I rewatched it because I watched it when I first got into comic books. And I always say this, that I enjoyed it, but I was sitting there like, man, this is not a good movie. I'm enjoying
there were some parts I liked, and there were other parts where it just completely fell apart for me.
Like the end sequence where they're all heading towards, like, Batman's driving the Batmobile towards, and there's all those demons flying around everywhere. Like, that was bad, dude. I was just like, man, this is not a good movie. I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm enjoying it because I'm just getting into this stuff, but this is not a good movie.
Yeah. I've seen some clips of the Snyderverse version, and what kills me is they seem to have done such a great job with Darkseid and setting up like this huge epic fight, and then it's just nothing's gonna.
Yeah, that does suck because, man, like the Snyder Cut version was like, there's things that happen like right at the end. Oh man, like it's so brutal that you wouldn't expect it. I was like, man, that's that's pretty full on for a DC movie, right? So yeah, when I rewatched the Justice League original cut the second time, I was like, man, this is really, really bad. Like, there's no story. Like, the way the group comes together, it just happens like that. Like, they don't explain anything. Just all of a sudden, they're all in the same room. It's like, oh, we're together now. We're the Justice League. And I was like, what? This is so dumb. But so there's a lot more story to how the group comes together in the Snyder Cut. And man, you trip out, man. This scene, because I've watched it the day before, there are scenes, they're the same scene, but not a single bit of dialogue is the same. So, like, it's the same scene, but none of the, like, they haven't used any from the original cut. They've just redone the whole thing somehow. Like, so they must have deleted so much of the I just couldn't believe it. Like, there's this bit where I think it's the bit where they're digging up Superman's body. That scene is still in the Snyder Cut, but the dialogue and the is completely different. Couldn't believe it. It was out of control. Oh, see you, mate.
Take it easy, fanboy.
I'm in my neck sore already. Oh, you'd hope some of the titles are going to be building up to something or why. Yeah, look, I would imagine so. But some of the title choices are interesting. So I don't know so you don't know anything about what happened, right? So I think the first one was Superman, and then they're going to do Brave and the Bold, which is going to be the Batman film.
Really?
Yeah. How about that? And it's going to be apparently based on him and Damian. How
Have
about
they
that?
announced actors yet? Or are they going to keep
they've announced
Matt Reeves' Batman?
No, so they announced that Matt Reeves' Batman isn't, and also the Joker movie is an Elseworld thing. So they're not
They're not
part
treating
of
it like a separate universe.
Yeah, which is just, I mean, I guess you have to, because to be honest, the Joker movie is too. You couldn't make that work. It's too. You can make that Joker work with the Batman, but at the same time, that Joker would get his ass kicked. That's the problem. He's just some crazy guy. While like Heath Ledger's Joker was a lot more of a menacing comic book villain, like a believable comic book villain. But like what's his friends? Joaquin Phoenix, like I love that movie, but it's kind of like so I don't know. You just don't believe that guy is going to be. You believe him more to maybe or boss people around, but you can't imagine that guy, like doing anything to Batman. Batman would kick that guy's ass. Have you seen that movie? Have you seen the Joker?
No.
What the hell, Russ?
Oh my God! The last movie I saw with Joaquin Phoenix in it was probably Signs.
I'm not talking about what was the last movie that you saw, man? Like,
oh God, the last new movie I saw was probably Endgame.
Wow,
I haven't really seen anything new since that.
I don't know if you'd actually like the Joker. I can understand that's not really for everyone, but I really, really liked it.
I mean, I might like it because I like Joker as a villain character in the comics. So I don't know. I might like the movie.
Definitely a different spin on on the Joker, but again, it just seems just a lot more. I guess, not so much a comic book movie. It's more of a like everyone compares it to like Taxi Driver and stuff like that. Which it's kind of more like that kind of film. Have you seen Taxi Driver?
yeah, but I've only seen it like once, and it's been
I saw it once, and I can't even.
I don't know how long.
I can't remember if I watched it till the end. I watched it on TV one night, and I can't even remember if I watched it to the end. But
the only thing I remember about that movie is that one line, "You talking to me?"
Yeah, I remember that.
The only thing I remember from the whole
thing
movie.
into his like a gun thing into his freaking coming out of his wrist and stuff. So what else did they announce? So Brave and the Bold is interesting. Because I think he said that's going to be like a Bat family movie. So maybe you'll have Nightwing and Red Hood, maybe as well. But he said like Batman. It's meant to be about Batman and Damian.
Yeah. I mean, it would be cool to see Nightwing in there somewhere. Just skip over him completely and go straight to Damien is kind of, I don't know.
Well, if they do that, then it's kind of like they can just have Nightwing, and then you already know he used to be Robin, sort of thing. So, how
I
good would
don't
it
like
be
it when they're constantly like retell origins because
yeah.
I mean these
Hey
are some
man,
of
that's
the most
comic books, man.
recognizable heroes. People's got to know it.
Yeah, but comic books do that every 5 years.
That's why I stopped buying new comics.
Imagine they did Nightwing, they brought him into live action, and he was wearing like the disco Nightwing outfit. How good would that be?
That would be like fun in a flashback. Show like a flashback of him designing the original costume or something.
Let me try to get the oh, here we go. James Gunn plan. So an image. Man, so many people posted about it yesterday. I couldn't struggle to find
I scroll through Instagram so fast. If it's not like a comic book photo, I just keep scrolling.
I dare you. So they're calling the phase or chapter Gods and Monsters. Just show me a chart. Yeah, so here's an interesting one. The Authority. They're doing Booster Gold is going to be one of the, I think in the second chapter, they're doing a Booster Gold movie.
That makes sense because I've seen a lot of people
posting
like
the first
all
Booster
of a sudden
Gold.
talking about Booster Gold again. Like
The Grey Man, he's got the first Booster Gold, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
They're doing a Green Lantern show, which actually the way he talked about it sounded, because I'm not into lanterns, but he sold it to me the way he kind of said. He said it's meant to be kind of like True Detective, but with two of the lanterns.
Oh, so they're going to have been. I'm assuming they'll probably do Hal Jordan and John Stewart if they're talking about just having two.
John Stewart was definitely one of them. I don't remember who the other one was. But
I doubt they'll do Kyle Reiner. What's up, Trev?
They are doing Swamp Thing. I think that's a show as well. That's an interesting. I don't know. Do people know Swamp Thing?
I don't know. I mean, it's not mainstream. I don't think.
Yeah, exactly.
They already DC didn't they do a Swamp Thing show?
Yeah, and apparently it was very good, but it got canceled after one season. So
yeah, I didn't get to see it because I think it was on their streaming service then, or maybe HBO by then. I'm not sure.
Oh, here we go. I've got the list here. So first, we've got Superman Legacy. It's going to be called Written by Gunn. I watched a Talking Pop Culture talk about these yesterday, and it was very funny. He gets very worked up about these things. So Superman Legacy, and then there's going to be The Authority, which has Wildstorm characters. That's interesting.
The only Wildstorm character I can think of offhand is Grifter.
Yeah, me too.
I can't remember the other guys' names. Yo, what's up, Kyle?
What's up, Kyle? We got
I remember
Supergirl.
the old school Swamp Thing movies, man. Those
really?
were fun.
Well, when did they come out?
Oh God, they came out. It had to have been the mid to late '80s, maybe.
Really? Why don't I?
Yeah, Heather Locklear was in the first one. I can't remember if she came back for the second one or not.
I did not know about those. So you got Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Thoughts?
I know there was a Woman of Tomorrow storyline in the comics, but I never read it.
So it's actually based on the comic book, which was written by the one and only Tom King.
I'm out.
I think that would be very good because look, apparently the book was very good, and I think to do a Tom King comic book live action, I think works.
Kyle's saying 1982 on the Swamp Thing movie.
Hey, that's when I was born. It was that old. It can't be good. It can't be good. Luckily,
I remember it being pretty good. I remember I saw it when I was a kid.
Swamp Thing.
Oh, Locklear was in the second movie. Okay, I knew she was in one of them.
Wait, where's Craven? You're kidding me. Where's Craven Swamp Thing? Holy crap, I need to see that. That's insane. Oh, look at him. And then you got, where's the second one? Wow. Is that Heather Locklear getting carried there? Wow. Interesting. I don't know a lot about Swamp Thing. I mean, he was in one of the Justice League Dark comic book series that I read, but so then after Super,
he's in an Injustice 2 video game. I actually use his character quite a bit.
I think I've seen him in some of the animated stuff as well. So yeah, after Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, you got Swamp Thing. The film will investigate the dark origins of Swamp Thing.
That should be good.
That's TV. And then you got Creature Commandos, a 7-episode animated show in which Amanda Waller creates a Black Ops team out of monstrous prisoners. Gunn wrote all the episodes of the first season.
So
then you got
kind of like Suicide Squad again.
I guess so, yeah. But animated. And then you got Waller.
Oh, it's gonna be animated.
Waller, which is gonna be doesn't say if it's TV or movie. I think it's a TV series, The Waller, about Amanda Waller, which is like I don't know why that would be that interesting. I don't know. Again, I haven't read a lot of Suicide Squad stuff, so I don't know a lot about the character. And then you got Booster Gold. Booster Gold uses basic technology from the future to pretend to be a superhero in present day. So
that should be good. That sounds like pretty accurate to the comic from that description.
What's up, Spidey?
What's up, Mad Spidey?
Because again, the only thing I've really read about Booster Gold was obviously the Heroes in Crisis. He was a big character in that. Did you read that, Russ?
No. I had the first issue, and then I saw some reviews of some later issues, and I just no.
I enjoyed it up until it ended, and I was like, oh, because every issue left me wanting to know what's going on. But then when it happens, I was like, what just happened? I just didn't. Yeah, it wasn't great, but I still enjoyed reading it. Kind of like the movie, the DC movies. You know, you can enjoy it, but you don't have to. It doesn't have to be good for you to enjoy.
I mean, if you're coming in fresh and you don't really know anything about the legacy characters or their history, I could see like a new reader enjoying it.
Yeah, because they're definitely written in a different way than traditional comic books. Greyman brought something interesting. I thought we might get Blue and Gold with Blue Beetle, because isn't there a Blue Beetle movie coming out?
There was supposed to be.
Well, it's made, so
they already made it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's got the kid from. It's got the kid from Cobra Kai in it.
I know that. I mean, they were canceling so much there for a little bit. I don't know,
but I'm just wondering if that sits anywhere. If that's just going to be one and done, because surely they had plans for that, and he's young, so they could make him ongoing. That guy.
Yeah, I think they're going off the second Blue Beetle, Jaime Reyes.
Okay.
Which I'm hoping they do some kind of Ted Kord cameo or something, because it would be cool to see the original in there somewhere, even if it's just like a flashback scene.
Okay, so you got Lanterns, which is this enormous TV event series follows intergalactic cops Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan as they uncover a dark mystery, and apparently the dark mystery, apparently that's a big deal. So I'm pretty sure he was saying that the dark mystery has a lot to do with what the whole grand scheme of things is. So maybe that will introduce Darkseid.
Could.
Or something.
I would love to see him do like a live action version of the Parallax storyline. That would be cool.
I don't know what that is. I read. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about
that. Was Emerald Twilight, which is right around the time I started reading Green Lantern. And that's what introduced Kyle Reiner. And it was just really cool, man.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know a lot about Green Lantern because I read that one book. I read 2 issues and I was like, this is not my thing. But I could enjoy a TV series about it. And the way he sold it sounded good. Intergalactic Cops is up my alley, and I have a feeling we might get a cameo for Lobo in that. Okay.
That would be cool to see.
And then you got these titles are very interesting. Paradise Lost, set in Themyscira, home of the Amazons and birthplace of Wonder Woman. This drama focuses on the genesis and political intrigue of an island of all women.
So it's going to be like a flashback before, or maybe when
it's just about Themyscira. I'm sure Wonder Woman will be in there.
So no Gal Gadot.
Well, no, yeah, I was about to say, rip Gal Gadot.
That's another double finger salute to James Gunn, man.
Yeah, but like, what happens if? I mean, how old's Gal Gadot? I mean, she's getting on, right?
I don't.
They
care.
need to. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, they're gonna all these actors. They've been like all those movies are so old now, man. Like Justice League and Batman versus Superman. Like they're all so old. They need to do this on a tight schedule. And they need to.
That's the problem, man. They didn't get a chance to
that sucks
because they waited so long in between each movie and nobody knew what they were doing.
But that's like
they really dropped the ball, right? Man. They could have done so much.
That's like Warner Brothers' fault, not
Yeah.
What is that? It? I thought there was more than that. Well, that's the list that's on this article that I'm reading, but I thought there was more.
I think one of the biggest mistakes they made is with rushing it so much with Batman v Superman and like trying to introduce the whole Justice League in the second movie. There were things about that movie I loved, like when Wonder Woman first came on the scene. That gave me some nerdy chills, man, up and down my spine. That scene was epic. But introducing Doomsday that quick was such a mistake. And the way they did it by turning Zod into Doomsday, that was disgraceful.
Is that what they did? I can't even remember.
They really need to, if they're ever going to do Doomsday in the movies again, they really need to take from the source material and take their time and stretch it out over a trilogy of movies and have the death, the reign, and the return as each separate movie. That's something that I would love to see before I'm like 90 years old sitting in an old folks home.
Okay, well, here's the thing. James Gunn does read comic books as well. You got to remember that. Does that help?
It's going to take a lot for me to ever like anything James Gunn does.
I think in the long run, it's a good thing because even though we've had this, the what do you call it, the Snyder era, whatever you want to call it, that it sucked, man.
Like I don't really care.
Those movies
who
weren't
the director
good.
Just set up a universe and have a real freaking plan and don't fumble the ball, man.
Yeah, no, but I think that's what this is, Russ. It's not. They didn't have a plan with the old one. They just like, let's do this.
But the actors were so freaking good.
What was?
The actors were so freaking.
Yeah, the actors were good, but man, the script sucked, dude. Man. There was no good movie. Like there was not a single DC movie that I would say was great. Like when I watched Infinity War and Endgames, I was like, man, this is like epic stuff, right? And obviously it's a whole, but there was also great movies like Iron Man.
But look how long Marvel had to actually set up their universe and make a plan.
Yeah, but I think they knew what they were doing
for such a long time.
Yeah, but they planned it right. DC didn't. DC were just like, let's do this, let's do that. But they didn't have. It was bad, man. Like name.
I think DC just had some dude like throwing darts at a board or something.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So I feel like the reset is probably a good thing in the long run. Once you get used to it, it's like, man, when I first heard Pattinson was going to be Batman, I was like, what? And even when I saw the first trailer and I saw him as Bruce Wayne, I was like, what? Bruce Wayne's emo? But the movie's good.
Yeah, I've heard great things about the movie. I'm definitely going to get around to watching it one day.
I've got to rewatch. I've had the I bought it when it came out. I bought the Steelbook, but I want to rewatch it while I'm building my Lego Batmobile, which I really need to do. I didn't know. I actually don't know where my Batman Lego thing is, to be honest. But my plan was to build it
while somewhere with your Red Hood mask.
Yeah, oh, dude, I need to find that Red Hood mask, man. I need closure on that part of my channel. I need Red Hood to come back for one
Yeah.
last run and remind people that of some of the videos I used to make.
Oh yeah, the Tim Burton stuff was like some of the first Batman that I ever saw, and then later I went back and I watched the '60s stuff.
Yeah, that's so weird because I was the other way
But
around. I
still to
saw the
this day,
60s.
that's my favorite version of the Batmobile in the '89 movie.
It's a toss up between me because obviously the '89 Batmobile looks the coolest. Although I must say I love the new one. But the '66 Batmobile, man, you can't sleep on it. It's so
Oh, it's a
good.
great one too, man. But it's
It's
just
so
something about
good.
the '89 Batmobile that I love it.
I finally went back and rewatched Batman Returns. I've been wanting to rewatch it for years, and I hadn't seen because I hadn't seen it since back in the day. So I watched it not that long. It was just after Christmas because people were talking about it being a Christmas movie, and I watched a bit of it. With Sarah didn't make it all through the end, but she watched a big chunk of it.
That was the one with Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey, right? The
No, no,
Riddler
no,
and Two
no, no.
Face.
Batman Returns is the Michelle Pfeiffer one.
Oh yeah. I thought I was
Batman
thinking about
Forever.
the Val Kilmer movie.
Batman Forever is that one.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I rewatched Batman Returns, and
That
it was
was a
interesting.
great
It
one.
wasn't as dark as I remembered it. It was very Tim Burton, like
Yeah. I
very
think that
Tim
movie
Burton.
was like 12 when I came out, and I just remember like being in love with Catwoman.
Yeah, right. Who wasn't? Um, but yeah, it was weird because I was the other way around compared to you. I watched the '66 Batman show first, so that's how I discovered Batman. Because it used to be on like that perfect time slot, 4 o'clock, I think, in the afternoon. So you get home from school and it'd be on. Or maybe it
Yeah.
was on 3:30 and my dad had to tape it for me, but I used to love it. And then they released the '89 Batman movie. I was like, holy crap, look how cool Batman looks.
I went from the '89 movie to the animated series, and then that's when I discovered the '66 series.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I don't know why I skipped on the animated series. I remember it because I think again it was in that time slot where I'd normally get home and it'd already been finished, or I'd maybe catch the very end of it. But it was just never part of my life, the animated series for some reason.
What's up, Brian?
What's going on, mate?
The Pee Wee Herman movie. I remember some of those as a kid. They were crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever saw many of them though.
I don't remember a whole lot about, but I remember like one scene where he was like hitchhiking and got in this truck with this like, I think her name was Large Marge.
Large Marge. Oh man, I remember the old. Yeah, I remember the Hulk sort of vaguely, and the Spider-Man original Spider-Man. I don't know if it was a show or movie, but I just have this one memory because I was like, this is so cool, and it was like Spider-Man trying to take photos of himself, I think, and he climbs up the wall and has the camera set up or something like that. I just remember that one bit, and I was like, "This is so good," but I couldn't watch the whole thing because it was on TV and had to go or whatever it was. No.
I
I'm
remember
so
watching the Lou Ferrigno Incredible Hulk back in the day.
yeah. I remember seeing that as well. I don't remember much about it, but
Most of the time, it was like very depressing to watch that show, man.
really,
Yeah, it's like a lot of like depressing, sad moments.
I remember getting a photo with the '89 Batmobile, and I want to find it so bad. But it's just lost. Like I asked my mum about it. I was like, "Hey, can you remember seeing a photo of me with a Batmobile?" Because yeah, they had it here, and I remember I had like my Batman cap. I had a Batman denim jacket. I've still got the mug that we bought from that event. So we got the photo with the Batmobile, and my parents bought me a Batman mug, which I still have.
That's awesome,
But
man.
I want that photo. And then the second Batmobile that was in Batman Forever. I've got photos of that as well. They had that just at the shopping center, just up the road from here. It was just there on display, and you could take photos with it. So that was pretty crazy. And I can't really remember where those photos are gone either.
It's a lot of cool memories, man.
I know. That's why I want them. I need those memories because everything's slowly disappearing from my brain. I'm slowly forgetting things. It sucks. The thing that sucks the most is a lot of the stuff that I liked as a kid. I don't like. I have the memory of liking it. I don't have a memory of it. Like all those like shows and stuff that I liked. I remember loving them, but I couldn't tell you anything about them.
Yeah.
Like I
There
love
was a ton of, especially Saturday morning cartoons that I loved as a kid that I couldn't tell you the characters' names now in it.
Yeah,
because
Masters of the Universe. I used to love Masters of the Universe. Had
Yeah.
all the toys, but I can't remember any of that stuff. I remember the movie.
There was one called Silverhawks, Thundercats. I loved
Thundercats I loved.
Marshall Bravestar, Mighty Max.
Yeah, Bravestar was so good.
There was I think there was one called Street Sharks. There was Mummies Alive. There was a
Street Sharks was a little bit
cartoon.
later. But man, you got to check out
I
that.
I remember the names of them and loving them, but I don't remember anything about them now.
Man, I went back. Like I said, we did that nostalgic animated thing episode with Mark, and I talked about Star Chaser. Man, I used to watch that movie to death, like just over and over, right? And I always remembered it, but I never remembered what it was called. And then when I found out, oh, it's called Star Chaser, you can watch the whole movie on YouTube. And I rewatched it, and I was like, man, this is so. It was basically a ripoff of Star Wars, but still, it was just so good. If anyone remembers Star Chaser, I'm actually watching a VHS tape of it on eBay at the moment, which I might buy.
That's awesome, K-pop.
Street Sharks was not my friend. Oh, what? Really? It's crazy. Ooh,
that would be awesome to see.
Street Sharks. There was a lot. So I remember, like Street Sharks was one of those shows that took over from the Ninja Turtles time slot. So Ninja Turtles all of a sudden wasn't on TV anymore, and they had Street Shark. I don't know. I can't remember the order because there was Street Sharks, and then there was Biker Mice from Mars.
I remember that one.
Yeah. So all those shows.
The name of it anyway.
Do you remember Samurai Pizza Cats? A lot of people don't remember.
So familiar.
A lot of people don't remember Samurai Pizza Cats, man. I used to love that one.
But I remember being bummed out when like the X-Men series and the Spider-Man 90 series ended because those were two of my favorites.
Yeah, that Spider-Man one. But the Spider-Man one was very short-lived. I feel like it was only like 8 episodes or something.
Oh no, the one it had several seasons because they introduced Venom, Carnage. It had an incredible theme song, Radioactive Spider Blood.
Was that the do?
But it ended on like I think it started in like 92 or 93, I want to say.
Yeah, that used to be on like morning before school.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks because those morning cartoons, they were Monday to Friday and you had to go to school. So like you'd be able to watch them as you're getting ready and having breakfast, but then often you wouldn't be able to catch the end of it. So if it was on at that sort of 8 o'clock time slot, it was perfect. But if it was on at 8:30, then you wouldn't be able to watch it because you'd have to go.
I remember several times in the early 90s when I was around 12, 13, where I would like skip school because I would have such a hard time with like bullies in school and stuff. So I would, like, as soon as my mom's taillights were disappearing, the headlights from the bus would come down the road. I would jet back to the house as fast as I could, push the chair in front of the TV, and watch like the Tasmanian Devil cartoon, like Pinky and the Brain, Animaniacs, Tiny Toons, just all day.
I'm not sure K-pop if it was delayed or not. I'd imagine it would just be same time. I don't think it would have been delayed. I remember there was this cartoon that came out that was like it had all the cartoon characters, a mixture. Like it would have had Ninja Turtle. I can't even explain, but it was like an anti-drugs thing. And it was like a 20, 30-minute episode, and it had all these different cartoon characters from all these different franchises in it, talking about how obviously it was about this kid who, and they were trying to tell him that drugs are bad and stuff like that.
Dude.
About movie replicas for sale. Is the only person licensed to do. Man, have you? Oh, no, I don't think I've ever. Have I ever sent you one of those comic bag? Like when I've sent you stuff, I never sent you like the comic shop bag. Have I?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I know I sent one to MetaRock, and sometimes I put the books inside a plastic bag that comes from one of the comic shops here called Comics R Us, and so it's a double-sided bag. One side's got Superman on it, the other side's got Spider-Man,
Oh,
but
that's
it's
cool.
actually licensed. Like
Oh.
that's how. Like think about it. Like they would have got that done probably in the 90s or something like that, or early 2000s or whatever. Like that's how dead the comic book scene was that they could even afford something like that. Yeah, I remember anime. I remember everyone talking about Animaniacs, but I never watched it because again, it was like on that time slot where I'd miss after school. Aren't they bringing Animaniacs?
I heard recently that one of the old like Superman cartoons from like the 60s, I think it was, recently came into public domain. So you can like, if you can find the episodes, you can post them to your channel and stuff, and it's like completely copyright free. But it's just that particular series from like the 60s or whatever.
Well, maybe you could do reaction videos to it, Russ.
Yeah.
And have the actual video there.
I could try that because I've never seen the original cartoon from the 60s.
Just react to the first episode.
Tiny Toons was awesome.
Yeah, Tiny
Plucky
Toons I think I
Duck
remember more than Animaniacs.
Hilarious. I think I had Dizzy Devil instead of Taz. Such a fun show, man.
Let me look this up. Yeah, see, Tiny Toons I remember more than Animaniacs because, yeah. Very good. Mate, we got all nostalgic for a moment there.
Yeah. Yo,
hey,
what's
there
up, main event? We were talking wrestling in the first half of the show, brother.
Oh, man, the one he did, I laughed so hard because he's doing those wrestling ones. Last night, I think it was yesterday, he released a video which was Chris Rock versus Will Smith in a what do you
I gotta
call,
see that, man. I gotta
what
look
do you call
that
the
up.
ones what's the name of the match type where they're like backstage and stuff like that?
The backstage brawl.
Yeah, it was like one of those. Oh man, it was so funny. I was like, oh, I gotta watch this. It was so funny.
I gotta catch up. I saw one he did with Neil versus Fanboy Prime.
And the characters look so spot on. Like literally, they're in their suits and everything like that from the Oscars. Like, man, it was so good.
Creations, man. Some of the creations they do now in the games is awesome.
Yeah, I remember towards the very end of my sort of gaming days where I used to play games all the time. I can't remember. I think it was maybe in the UFC game though. I'd like you could download people's created characters because I used to create my friends. I didn't really create like, I guess comic book characters or anything like that. But that's a cool idea. But I used to go through. You can go through and download other people's created characters, and people were so good at making them. But yeah, man. Oh, dude, that thing was funny as on his channel. Pinky in the Brain. I remember that.
That's awesome, man. That was probably my favorite part of the Animaniacs show, the Pinky and the Brain skits. Then eventually they got their own show.
Yep, I remember Pinky in the Brain. That was 1 in. And then we used to have like the weekend shows as well, like Saturday morning cartoons. That was better because you'd actually be. I think Transformers used to play on the weekend ones because I remember being able to actually watch it.
Voice of Wacko.
Yeah, mate. All this stuff that I used to love, no memory.
I remember another. I can't remember if it was. I think it was Animaniacs. They did this skit with these three like pigeons, the good feathers, and they were like one of them was supposed to be like Robert De Niro, one was supposed to be like Joe Pesci. That was pretty funny.
Did you ever watch Dino Riders?
I've
That
heard
was
that
one I
name
was-
before.
That was what it just recently came into my back in my brain. I think it was, I don't know if it was Gary B or someone bought like, I don't know if it was Dino Riders comic book or something like that, but I was really into Dino Riders back in the day.
That kind of made me think of the Transformers Beast Wars.
Did you ever watch Captain N?
It doesn't sound familiar.
It was like this kid, and all the characters were like Nintendo characters. It was like a Nintendo sort of cartoon thing. So like the main kid was, I don't know, Captain N, I guess, but there was like who was it? I feel like I feel like Link was one of the characters, Mega Man,
Huh.
and I think Simon from Simon's Quest or something like that. Simon's Quest.
I
Showing
vaguely
videos.
remember seeing a cartoon that had Link in it.
Captain N, the Game Master. There you go. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. And then they had the Super Mario cartoon, which was like a mixture. Like it'd be one of those ones where it'd be like 2 or 3 episode stories in the one. So there'd be like a Zelda story, and then there'd be like a Mario story. But the Mario ones were always the best, but they'll only go for like, I think, like 5-10 minutes sort of thing. Kid Icarus, Simon Belmont, and Mega Man. There you go.
Simon Belmont, wasn't that a character from Castlevania?
Castlevania. That's what it was. Castlevania, yes. Ooh,
I
Captain
vaguely
N.
remember playing one of those back on the original Nintendo.
I might need to jump on that Captain N comic book. But yeah, mate, we got to the hour. We did it. We did it
That
again.
was a fun episode, man.
Told you, mate. We just nerd out. We just nerd out every week.
Yeah.
But at least we had some topics to go off because I was like, I know you
Oh, yeah.
wanted to talk about wrestling because of the Royal Rumble thing, and obviously the DC thing came in at a good time. And then yeah, once we start, we don't stop, mate.
Yeah. Especially considering I asked you like for a subject like 10 minutes before we started.
Yeah,
Then
we're
I
not
quickly had
organized
to
here.
quickly
We used to
throw
be
up a
organized. Well, not
thumbnail.
really. Even when we had topics back in the day, I'd come up with them like the night before. So like literally like 10 hours before the show, I'd be like, let's just do this. You got the WWF and the Zelda comics too.
I remember having some of the WWF comics like back in the day. I had one with like Ultimate Warrior on it. I remember having one that had Undertaker on the cover. But
Yeah, I
can't
see them
remember,
around,
like,
and I
what the
try
stories
not
were
to.
like.
Yeah,
I
what were the
do.
stories like?
I had almost a full run of Mr. T and the T-Force comics back in the day. I wish I still had those. I was a huge Mr. T fan from the A-Team and seeing him in the Rocky movies as Clubber Lang.
Oh yeah,
I wish I still had those old Mr.
Dead
T
meat.
comics.
Yeah, Clubber Lang was the man.
Yeah.
Did they
That's some
do?
memories there, man.
They didn't do, because I haven't watched all the Creed movies, but I wonder if they ever brought back Clubber Lang, like Clubber's kid or anything like. Because I know they did that with Drago. I think
I don't know.
like Drago's kid.
I've seen the first Creed, but I haven't seen the ones after that.
Yeah, I've only seen the first, which I really enjoyed the first Creed.
Yeah,
But I
it
haven't
was
seen
really
the other
good.
ones.
I'm a huge fan of the original Rocky movies, man.
There you go, mate.
Except for 5.
Get that autograph, Mr. T autograph.
Oh, dude, that would be epic. I've got the first issue of 18-1, and I think it was only a 2 or 3 issue mini. But it's funny, I was looking up some of those Mr. T and the T-Force comics last year, and some of them were like going for higher prices. Then I found out it was because Neil Adams did some of the art.
Oh,
Yeah, they've probably come back. They've probably come back down a lot since then, so I need to check them again.
Rocky IV was my bedtime story.
Yeah, Rocky
Yeah, I
Four
remember.
was so good, man.
Yeah, man. When
I
I was,
must break you.
I remember one New Year's Eve.
3
I must
issues.
have been, I don't know how, I was pretty young, and I spent the night watching all the Rocky movies and just working out. I used to do like exercises in my room. I do like
Yeah,
I had a really big school bag, like a backpack. So I filled it up with encyclopedias and I would lift that. I used to go under my table and do these weird like table pull-up things. And yeah, I was
I remember. I can't remember how old I was, but I remember right after I watched the original Rocky movie, I went into the kitchen. I grabbed 3 eggs and I cracked them in a glass and I tried to drink them,
I did
and they
that.
went down and right back up. I
I
remember
did the raw egg.
I remember my grandma coming in the kitchen and running me out of the house. I threw up eggs all over her floor.
I remember doing that. I only did 1 egg though, and I did it a couple times, but yeah, no, I could keep it down.
I couldn't, man. That was it for me. I'm like, I'll never be Rocky.
In the movie, I remember he drinks it and it's like all running down his chin and stuff like that.
Yeah. Raw
all right,
eggs
mate.
and hot sauce.
Let's get out of here. Have you got anything? You got anything planned?
Yeah, I've got several things. I recently brought back the going through my comic book collection. I did the first episode Monday. I'm gonna try to do that, make it consistent, and try to do that every Monday until I get through all 15 short boxes. Soon, I'm thinking maybe this weekend I'm gonna do a first time watching Harry Potter reaction stream, and yeah, I'm just gonna be streaming here and there a lot more often this year.
Get those
So
hours
look
up,
for a
mate.
lot of streams coming up.
Which probably means more Simply Super on my channel because Russ will run out of hours.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do any like
Yeah,
8-hour
it's
bottle
pretty
of
hard to
Listerine
run out
streams
of
or
hours.
nothing.
Like 20 hours is.
Yeah, that's because I did 12 of the Simply Super episodes like in a row, and then I'd stream like all the AOK because I was like almost out of time, and I went like 8 or 9 hours over or whatever it was. But yeah, I'm gonna budget the time. I like the comic book collection streams. I'm gonna try to keep them to an hour or just a little over. The movie streams will probably be, just however long the movie is. And there'll also be more wrestling reaction streams coming up because I'm probably going to do Elimination Chamber next month, and I'm definitely going to do WrestleMania.
Cool.
So a lot of streams for 2023.
Because like to do the Harry Potter one, it's hard to because it's literally going to be you staring.
Yeah, it's just going to be me the whole time. Maybe I'll have to buy a wand or something. I don't know.
Well, there's going to be a way of just making it a little bit more interactive so people know.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, if there's anybody actually shows up to watch, I'm going to interact.
Well, ages ago, remember Genome was doing it, I think, on his channel where they were all watching the movie. I think you go to some website and you're all watching it at the same time.
Yeah, it's like a watch party.
You could do something like that where you could then put the link in the chat or something like that, and then they could watch it so they know where you're up to at least.
Yeah, I could try to organize.
You should look into that because yeah, it's going to be tough if you're just staring at a screen, and they don't know where you're up to and things like that. So
maybe I'll do it shirtless.
Oh, okay.
Just to attract more attention. Just do a shirtless.
More attention and less watch time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, I got nothing planned.
You got anything coming up, bro?
No, well, I might
Really?
I'll probably try. I'll hit you guys up, but I'll probably do a suspect stream on Saturday morning, which will be Friday night for you guys.
All right.
So I don't have a plan. I really should be organizing Collectible Show and Tell, but it's too close. So I might do a suspect stream with you, Old Wolf and Bubs. I'll hit you guys up soon in the chat. So yeah, that's all.
All right, cool, man.
Thank you guys for hanging out. As always, we appreciate you. And next week, same Rust time, same Rust channel.
Nighty night from 9,000. If Gray Man's still watching.
Have a good day, mate.